So hello and welcome to the fourth video and the final video of session 1 of Introduction to Script Writing. And this one's all about screen structure. We've just done above the video on narrative structure for the whole of the screenplay. Now we're going to focus on scene structure, the scene structure. And we're back to The Woman in Black to do this. So this should be quite a short video, but scene structure can be quite tricky for some people. So hopefully this will go some way to helping you. But scene structure works basically on the same principle as 3-act structure. Imagine 3-act structure in a miniature for each and every scene that you do, and then you'll be kind of going along the right pace. So let's look at the second scene of the Woman in Black. Let's just maybe shrink this down a wee touch so we can get it all. There we go. We can get it all on the one page. So scene structure effectively does the same thing. You set up the scene. You then have the period of conflict, and then you have the resolution of the scene. But instead of the resolution of the scene completely finishing the story, actually what the resolution of the scene does is ends that scene but hooks it into the next scene, or maybe a scene that's going to come on later in the screenplay if we drop off to another story arc. So that's the broad strokes of scene structure, and you must really do that for every scene you've got. So let's go back to this and quickly look to see if we can identify that structure. Well, of course we can, right? Because there's our first beat here where we set up the space. So that's the ordinary world of the scene. There's the ordinary world of the scene again. The 3 little girls playing their tea party, yeah. And there we go, some more. So all the way down this scene, all of that down there, all the way down to here, bam, there's Act 1 of the scene, if you want to call it that. Or there's the beginning of the scene, the setup of the scene. We establish the ordinary world, spooky room, children playing, we're all right, we're all quite happy, yeah. Then we get effectively what is the inciting incident of the scene. Oh, without warning, the 3 girls look up, and simultaneously their eyes suddenly fixing something across the room, their faces suddenly blank. Okay, well, that's unusual. That's disrupted that ordinary world. And then we have the thing that throws them into the conflict. They get up, steady synchronized movement, and they stand. And now we're kind of into almost Act 2 of the scene, yeah? Or the middle of the scene. This is the obstacles. So what's their goal? Well, we know what their goal is because we've read the scene. Their goal is to jump out the window and commit suicide. Because they're possessed by the Woman in Black. So now we see the obstacles in the way of that. The obstacles in the way of that is they drop the things when holding, the china teacups, the dolls drop from the hands, laps fall to the floor. Yeah, in eerie perfect unison, the girls turn away from us to the window, they crunch their wee dolls, they destroy their stuff. And so as they do that, they're growing from being little children playing to these kind of horrific other things. They're moving through. The middle of the scene takes us through that period of conflict. And then that leads us to this, the resolution. They climb onto the window seat and stand in the frame of the window, silhouetted against the bright sky. And then the resolution to the whole scene, they jump. And so therefore you can see that the scene structure is actually a miniature of the narrative structure of the whole of the screenplay. So the more you can do that, the more effective each scene is going to be. It's got a beginning, a middle, and an end. And the end, unless it's the very last scene, hooks us on to the next scene coming, or indeed another scene a wee bit later on. So even if we look at that first scene that's just got the 2 bits, we can still kind of look at that for the beginning, middle, and end. So the beginning is, we look at this market square. The middle is all the visitors, all the villagers bustling about and happy, nice. And then the end, of course, is us looking up to the not so nice gabled attic window. So the structure is always there. The structure is always there, and that's what you want to try and do in a scene. So you're thinking 3-act structure is broad for your total screenplay, but you're also then thinking, how can I have a beginning, middle, and end in each of my scenes? How can I have a setup, a conflict, and a resolution, or a hook to the next scene in each of my scenes? And that's the broad stroke of scene structure. So you really don't want to forget about that when you're writing. But there's more to scene structure. There's a technical element to scene structure, and that's there are specific reasons to change a scene. In a screenplay, you would change scene, you would start a new scene if you change place or you change time. If you change place or you change time, you must change scene. So let's look at this. Exterior, Gifford Arms Inn, day. We're outside looking at the Gifford Arms Inn, okay? So therefore, when we go from the marketplace to the window, and then we actually go into the Gifford Arms, we've changed place, so therefore it has to be a new scene. We're now inside the Gifford Arms attic room in the day. So we've changed location, so therefore we change scene. If you change location or place, you change scene. Let's look at that again. So at the end of that scene, we then go to Arthur's house. So that's a new scene. There's no run-on. This just doesn't flow forward. We've gone to a new location. And that's all obviously connected to setups and filming and so on. We'll go into this in much more detail later on. But if you change space, or you change place, or you change time, we change scene. And if you look at the next one, arguably we do both. So there's no change in time between these two scenes. We're outside, we look up to the window, we go in the window. The time just runs linearly all the way through here. But what happens is we change place. But here, it looks like we change place and time because we then jump into Arthur Kip's house. Okay, so we change scene there. So that's all I really want to say in this really short video is that, remember, in a scene, you will change scene if you are changing time or place. And for every scene you write, you want to try and have a little mini structure in there. There's a setup, a conflict, and a resolution that hooks us to the next scene. Hopefully that's been helpful. Do let me know if not, you have any questions, but I'm sure we'll catch up about all of this in the tutorial. And that's where I'll see you next. I'll see you in the online tutorial. Please rewatch the videos as often as you want, or ask me any questions you need, and I'll try and get back to the feed. If you do drop questions in the feed, I'm not available 24/7, obviously, but I will go into the feed whenever I can and answer whatever I can. So yeah, I'll see you at the live tutorial.